Stay tuned. More coming up right here on Guide Us TV.
How can you get rewards like we do? 3 things you can do. Make dua for us and include yourself in the us. Number 2, share Islam.com and share the emotions that you have when you think about being a Muslim. And number 3, join us. Support dawahpartners.com. It's easy, real easy.
Get connected with Guide Us TV. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/guideustv1. Join us on Google+, plus.google.com/+guideustv. Follow us on Twitter, twitter.com/guideustv1. Find us on Flickr, flickr.com/photos/guideustv. And add us on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/guideustv. Get guided with Guide Us TV.
Assalamu alaikum. I'm Yusuf Estes with really good news. But first, many people are hearing things about Islam, but they are not getting the right message. So the best time to get the right message out is right now. And we have the best way to do exactly that with Allah's support and your help. We've got our projects, our websites, satellite TV channels, and now we can reach every home on the planet, inshallah. Let's make that difference together. It's easy. And be my dawah partner. What is a dawah partner? Well, this is a partnership between us and Allah. And this is the greatest thing that we can do as partners. Be partners in crime, that's an expression. But partners in the dawah, that means you're calling to Allah. What does dawah mean? Call, and invite people to something. There is dawah for meals. They call people to meals and come on in and sit down and relax and have fun. And so this is what we're talking about. Dawah, calling. If somebody accepts Islam, their rewards are huge because Allah has allowed us to participate in what He is already going to do anyway. Yeah, because only Allah guides the people. He says in the Quran, the translation of it is, you do not guide the one that you love. It is Allah that guides whomever He wants to the straight path. So we know that Allah is going to guide or not guide all of the people. And the best thing we can do is offer to invite the people to come. It is no good to force somebody, because if you force somebody, that's not Islam. One of the things in the Islam, the word Islam, is sincerity. You have to be sincere for Allah. And if you're not sincere, it's not going to work. And you have to be 100% sincere to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because anything else, 99.9% sincere for Allah and just 1 tenth of a point for showing off, or it's not going to work. So this is what we really know, and we want to share that with the people. And by the way, every single day that goes by, we have some showing off or some Riyah, they call it Riyah in the Arabic language, showing I'm bold and I'm this or that. And even if we show a little bit for somebody else while we're praying or doing something, and if you say, you're fasting on Mondays and Thursdays, or you're fasting on the white days, or, this is in the middle of the month, 3 days. And if you said, oh, I'm fasting, like, for no reason, that doesn't work, because you're showing off. You can tell people that fasting is a way to get closer to Allah, but you don't have to tell them that you're fasting, because this is something between you and Allah. Yeah. Allah says that. He says that the reward is for me, and he's got something special for all the people that sacrificed their meals, their drinking and eating during the daytime for Allah. Yeah. And we're getting close to Ramadan now, a little bit closer. It's still a couple months away, but we got to think about that and get ready for it. Once you establish that in your mind, you get the idea. We need to fast some of the days before Ramadan, because, you don't want to hit it hard and then feel, I can't do this. Just take it easy, inshallah. And speaking of taking it easy, we thought we were going to have a difficult time tonight because we had no Habib. We've been without our loved one. Habib means loved one. We've been without him for, 4 or 5 nights. Yeah. But guess what? He's right here with us now. Assalamu alaikum, Habib. Maybe you turn your microphone on.
Sorry about that. I put it on mute because I didn't want to interrupt you. So yes, I'm strange thing. Got a new computer. My internet stopped working. Hooked up my old computer, and voila, it's working. So thanks to Allah, I'm back on, and hopefully things will be better Monday once I get my new internet, and I can hook up my new computer, and everything will be working. So let's hope so.
So you said you hooked your old computer up to your old internet, and it worked.
Yeah.
Why do you need a new internet and a new computer?
Well, it has to do with some of the work that I want to do. So the faster computer and faster internet works better for the video editing and things like that. So
that's great. Well, anyway, this is good to have you back with us tonight, and it is so special for all of us to enjoy the camaraderie and enjoy the opportunity to learn from you. MashaAllah.
Right. And I do want to pick up on something you said, because sometimes, like, you're fasting and you obviously don't want to tell people, for no reason at all that you're fasting, but sometimes people will invite you out for something to eat, or they want to feed you because you're at a friend's place, and those are times that you don't have any choice but to say, today I'm fasting.
Well, that's a good idea. However, at times with the Muslims, it's different from the non-Muslims, because if they're saying, "Why are you fasting? Are you sick?"
Or are you going for blood work tomorrow? That's the reason why you're fasting?
Huh?
Yeah, well, before.
Going to the doctor, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is an opportunity to use the fasting and talk about the fasting to them.
Right.
But Mondays and Thursdays are the white days, the 3 white days. It's common for Muslims to fast on those days. And then they could, obviously, they could have the chance to say something to the Muslims, just like maybe you could say fasting, like fasting, or Saum. That means fasting, Saum. And if
or you could say, today is Monday. I'm a Muslim and today is Monday.
Yeah.
And it's like right away, because if the other person's a Muslim, they'll know. And you don't have to say it at all. Okay, fine, no problem. And that would be it.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to show this book to you. Let's see if you can see it.
Yes.
This is the book. It's showing it backward. Okay. Yeah, I got to turn it around. Alhamdulillah. Anyway, talk to the people while I turn this around.
Yeah, okay. This book is an interesting book. Brother Yusuf mentioned it to me before the show. So I'm hoping to have some questions as he's reading the book and telling us about the book. The other thing that I want to mention, especially when we're coming up to Ramadan, there's a couple of things I know worked for me in regards to preparing for Ramadan. And that's to switch your scheduling for your meals. So you start having a meal before Fajr. So this way here, your body's used to this coming up to Ramadan, and your meal you actually have after Maghrib, but during the day you can have a meal around Dohar, and that's actually better for you. So when you do fast, coming up to when you do fast during Ramadan, your body's already used to it, and you're only skipping one meal and not drinking any water, and that will make things a whole lot easier for you when you're fasting. At least I found that out for me, and so it's something you can think about and ask Allah about and see if it's something that would be good for you when you're fasting.
All right. You're absolutely right. This is something that all of the Muslims need to know about that. Anyway, this book this is a translated short form, abridged translation of a book that was written by Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, called in English language, Patience and Gratitude. Patience and Gratitude. Sabr is patience. Gratitude is shukr. You say thank you for everything, shukr Allah. Anyway, The definition of patience. Sabr is an Arabic word, means from the root meaning is to refrain or stop doing something. This is an expression in Arabic. So-and-so was killed, sabran, which means he was captured and detained until he died. Ah, okay. In the spiritual sense, patience means to stop ourselves from despairing or panicking, to stop our tongues from complaining, and to stop our hands from striking our faces and tearing at our clothes in times of grief and stress. And one time, the Prophet ﷺ, he forbid the women to go out to the graves, you know, when they were going to bury somebody. And the question came, why? Because the women had the habit of, and they would even hire people to come out and scream and holler and tear at their clothes and tear at their hair, and because they wanted to do that. But it's not forbidden for the women to go to the funerals or to go even to the graveside. But if they feel like they're going to lose it, they shouldn't go. Because the Prophet ﷺ said the one in the grave is going to be punished for the women that do that. Do you know why? Why would the person in the grave, he can't even do anything anymore, but he's going to be punished for the women that do that?
No, I don't know why. I'm thinking, so I'm going to say no. I don't know why.
Because the women were doing that when he was alive, and he didn't stop them from it. Maybe he even encouraged it, so that he's going to be punished for that. Anyway, a lot of times people think that everything stops when you go into the grave, but the punishment doesn't stop, because people are punished in the grave. This is not a good idea to do that. Some of the scholars define patience as a good human characteristic and a positive psychological attitude by virtue of refraining from doing the things that are not good. Human beings cannot live a proper, healthy life without sabr. Do you know which of the surahs ends with the word sabr?
No.
It has it at in the end of it, sabrun. You know that one of the small surahs that starts out wal asr. We say, before we say any of the surahs, we say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, I seek refuge with Allah against the shaitan, the devils. Anyway, wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr, illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salahati wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Sabr. Do you know what the translation of that is?
Sabr?
No, sabr, it means patience.
Yeah, but you mean the surah? No.
Yeah. Well, this is opened up almost to it. It's the Elepi Quraysh. I think it's right before that. Yeah, here it is. Wow. This is small print. I didn't realize that we were sending out this small of a print. Wal Asr, Allah is swearing by time. It says by time, but that doesn't mean Wal Asr means that Allah is swearing by the passage of time. Indeed, mankind is in a loss. That's not strong enough for the Arabic. For sure, all of the human beings are in khusr, bankruptcy. That, you know what khusr means?
No, but you're saying it means like in debt or in bankruptcy or
Oh, bankrupt, not debt.
bankrupt.
Bankrupt. They have nothing. They're broke and they can't pay anybody. And this is exactly the description of us on the day of judgment. And Allah is swearing by time that we will eventually be in front of Him and we will be broke. Yeah, we'll be in a loss. Except for those, illa ladina, except for those that believe and had done righteous deeds and advised each other to truth and advised each other to patience. And it's not about calling up somebody and say, remember the truth and remember to be patient, click. No, it's in advising each other in times of need, when somebody is really, really upset by their losses in this life or their ingratitude for what's coming, because one of the things that is stressed in Islam is to be appreciative of what you have and not worry about what you don't have. Don't worry about that, because there's a lot of things that you will not like it if you had it. Like, for instance, polio. I don't think anybody would want polio. And a severe headache. But we don't think about that. We just think what I want. But number one, you have a law. And this is the biggest thing in all of the creation. If you have God on your side, you got it. Yeah. So, except for those who have believed and done righteous deeds, illa ladina amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. And they have this, it's not just call up somebody and say, remember the truth and remember to be patient and then hang up. It's not that. But the haqq of la ilaha illallah, the absolute, it's more than truth. It is actually, because truth means, well, if you have the absolute truth, absolute, then you might be able to translate the word haq, because it means absolute truth. Anyway, and then the sabr is absolute patience. I think that it could be better than that. Well, English language is short. However, this is really the thing, and this is a very short verse, a very short verse. Wal asr, innal insana lafi khusr, illa alladhina amanu wa amilu salihati wa tawassaw bil haqq wa tawassaw bis sabr. Yeah, I feel good just repeating the verse. I don't know how it affects anybody else, but this, for the believers, they feel it. Yeah, that's good to go. And Allah huh?
Go ahead. I'll let you finish and I'll.
Well, Allah swears by the passage of time, and we don't really understand what time is. We think we do. We have a watch, we have a phone that has the time on it, we have clocks, we have a clock in the computer. But actually, we do not realize something like a football game could be on for over an hour and maybe over 2 hours, and we're just enjoying it so much. But stopping in traffic behind a red light is only a couple minutes. And people get hung, blow the horn, honk the horn. Well, they don't realize how much time we waste as opposed to the time that we want to get somewhere. We got to do this. I have to go and see my friend and hang out. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, what I was going to say, for anybody that wants to call in and tell us how they feel about hearing that surah, there's a phone number that's on the screen.
Tell them what the phone number is.
I will in a second. So it's 1-800-971-4383. And this is a toll-free number also for Canada.
You can call us anytime, even if we're not on the air. But sometimes we have the phones laying there and we'll answer it. I can't guarantee that, but if you would like to call in and talk with us on the air, that's the best thing to do, because we can answer it, and maybe we'll even answer the question. We'll answer the phone, but I don't guarantee the answers for the questions, because sometimes, and a lot of times, the question has to do with a lot of things, and we have to smooth it out and figure out what's going on. By the way, did you know what a fatwa is?
No. I've heard the word before.
A fatawa, that's the plural of fatwa. And a fatwa is a ruling that is not actually in the Quran or in the Hadith. Okay? So if you have a fatwa, or if you need an answer to something special that's not in the Quran, it's not in the hadith, and you need what is called a fatwa, because the person that you're going to is he's doing tafassur. Yeah, I'm proud of that. Anyway, he is laying it out so that you can understand what the Quran and the Hadith are saying together. And this is an opinion from the scholar, and it is only applicable to the place and time and to the people that it was given to. And many, many people say, we have a fatwa, this and this, and so, but this fatwa, all of the fatwa is for a particular place, a particular time, and a particular individuals who are asking about it. Because anything else, maybe it applies, but maybe it doesn't, and maybe 50% or 20% or 99%. But if the scholar that said it is not there, then don't hang out with that. Don't hang yourself with it, because a lot of times there are adjustments. For instance, music. Music, I was told when I got to Islam, music is haram. Okay. And I had music stores. We had music stores in Wichita Falls, Texas, and Lawton, Oklahoma. And we were really doing good. But when I got to Islam, they said, haram. I said, okay. I'm good with that. Whatever Allah wants. Because I was really, really sold. And I have not changed my mind since then. 34 years? Yeah. 34 years. And I still feel like, and I make mistakes. All right. Yeah, a lot of mistakes. But I don't doubt Allah anymore. As a Christian, even when I was preaching Christianity, I was talking to people about this, and they would have doubts. And I'd say, no, go ahead. Just have faith. Just have faith. But I didn't realize the seriousness of any question. Somebody asks you a question and it's related to what they're doing with their life in front of Allah. You better be sure. Be sure. And if you don't really know, there is a beautiful answer that you can give to anybody, anytime. Allahu Alam. Allah is the knower. He is the one who knows everything. Allahu Alam. And that is the best answer you can give. If somebody comes up to you and says, what time is exactly the Maghrib time? Allahu Alam. A lot of scholars start out with Allahu Alam. However, maybe it's like this, mumkin, like that. And this is the best answer.
Yeah. Especially when it comes to Jumu'ah prayer, because you can see it starts at this time, but it depends on the imam and when he wants to start. And sometimes he's late because of traffic or whatever. So you can't say, oh, it's going to start exactly at this time, because like you say, only Allah knows.
Yeah. And Allah knows that we got to take a break right now. So
Yes.
we'll be right back. And then I'm going to tell you about praying before the sun gets to the middle on Juma. A Juma prayer starting before the time of Dhuhr. What do you think? Stay
Sounds
tuned
good.
and stay guided by
Guide Us TV.
Stay tuned. More coming up right here on Guide Us TV.
How can you get rewards like we do? 3 things you can do. Make dua for us and include yourself in the us. Number 2, share shareislam.com and share the emotions that you have when you think about being a Muslim. And number 3, join us. Support dawahpartners.com. It's easy. In the UK, they say, keep calm and carry on. But how can we do that in these days? Well, keep Guide Us TV on. Go to dawahpartners.com. Assalamu alaikum. I'm Yusuf Estes with really good news. But first, many people are hearing things about Islam, but they are not getting the right message. So the best time to get the right message out is right now. And we have the best way to do exactly that with Allah's support and your help. We've got our projects, our websites, satellite TV channels, and now we can reach every home on the planet, inshallah. Let's make that difference together. It's easy. And be my dawah partner. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. We need partners. All of us need to be with others who are like-minded and come together for the sake of Allah. And this is proven by the number of times you get rewarded. If you pray together, it's a lot more than when you pray by yourself. If you have somebody standing beside you, you increase that number many times. But if there are 5 or 6 or 7 people, what about the salat that you do in the masjid? It's really, really good. And we're doing something right now for a person that was not a Muslim, but he supported Muslim ideas, and he was the president of the United States for 4 years, and he was a very good Christian, really. And we had him, this is one of the things that he did for Democracy Now! And watch this and you'll be surprised.
We get to the 11th century, the Arabs have...
The word apartheid is exactly accurate. You know, this is an area that's occupied by 2 powers. They're now completely separated. The Palestinians can't even ride on the same roads that the Israelis have created or built in Palestinian territory. The Israelis never see a Palestinian except they're Israeli soldiers. The Palestinians never see an Israeli except at a distance, except the Israeli soldiers. So within Palestinian territory, they're absolutely and totally separated, much worse than they were in South Africa, by the way. And the other thing is, the other definition of apartheid is one side dominates the other. And the Israelis completely dominate the life of of the Palestinian people.
Why don't Americans know what you have seen?
Americans don't want to know, and many Israelis don't want to know what is going on inside Palestine. It's a terrible human rights persecution that is far transcends what any outsider would imagine. And there are powerful political forces in America that prevents any objective analysis of the problem in the Holy Land. I think it's accurate to say that not a single member of Congress with whom I'm familiar would possibly speak out and call for Israel to withdraw to their legal boundaries or to publicize the plight of the Palestinians, or even to call publicly and repeatedly for good faith peace talks. There hadn't been a day of peace talks now in more than 7 years. So this is a taboo subject, and I would say that if any member of Congress did speak out, as I've just described, they would probably not be back into Congress the next term.
Yes, that was Jimmy Carter. He lived to be 100 years old, and he really was a wise person. However, we don't know if he accepted the idea of one God, and we don't know if he accepted the idea of Muhammad as his messenger. However, the Prophet ﷺ, he did stand up for a beer, what is it in English? Somebody died and they're passing by carrying the coffin. And he stood up. And then one of the Sahabis said to him, "Oh, that guy was a Christian." And he said, "He is a person of we respect the person who has died, you know?" Yeah. So if he lived as a good Christian, maybe he'll get off on the day of judgment. And maybe the Jews will too. However, they won't get far if they made partners with the law. They will not get far. And even if they did not accept Muhammad, but maybe they accepted that the God is one, and they accepted all the other prophets, maybe Allah will get them out of the fire. That's up to Allah. Allahu alam. And now let's go back to our program, already in progress. Allahu alam.
Assalamu alaikum. So there was one thing I was looking at when you were talking about making partners with Allah, because nowadays I see on Facebook, if you don't look at this particular hadith, you're going to have 2 months back bad luck. And that in itself just irritates me, because as soon as you say you're mentioning luck and you're saying what you're saying, you're automatically telling people to make partners with Allah, because luck has nothing to do with this, and it bugs me when people show this. So I just wanted to mention that. And to me, if you want somebody to take a look at a hadith and say the importance of the hadith and why we should look at it, but don't make comments like this. And so I think it's so important for people to realize how easy it is to fall into shirk when they're not paying attention.
Yes, I was looking at in the book that we're talking about tonight,
Yes.
and on in chapter 11, page 54, it's talking about the Sahaba, the followers of Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and the virtues of sabr. The sabr is patience, and we've been talking about that tonight. And Abu Bakr fell ill. Some people visited him and asked whether they should call a doctor for him. Okay. He said, the doctor has already seen me. They asked, what did he say? Abu Bakr says, he said, I do what I want. Meaning, Allah is his doctor and can make him sick or healthy as he wills. This is collected by Imam Ahmed. Anyway, the idea behind this is if you're sick, you should go to a doctor and find out what you have, and you can take the pills or whatever. However, you're not going to be any better than Allah wants you to be. So if you take the pills, always say Bismillah before you take the pill. And say Bismillah before you drink the water or whatever you're drinking. The idea behind getting well is you do your part. But at the end of the day, I don't know why we say the end of the day. Do you? Anyway, at the very end of it all, it is always up to Allah. He can cure you, or he can let you squander in your sickness, or he can even take your life. That is his decision. But he will never force anybody into Islam. He says that real clear in the Quran, right after Ayatul Kursi, La ikraha fadin. In Islam, there is no pushing people into Islam, because that goes against part of the idea of Islam, because you have to willingly choose to be a Muslim. Anyway, so Omar al-Khattabi said, the best days we ever lived were by the virtue of patience, sabr. And if patience were to take the shape of a man, he would be a noble and generous man. Now, why is this? I'll ask Habib, why do you think he said that? A noble and generous man is like the patience. Why?
Why? I'm not quite sure, but when you look at somebody being noble, they come from a noble line, or they're very, they're in their attitude. And so when you're looking at, you said generous? The other word was?
Let's see it again. He said the best days we ever lived were by the virtue of patience. And if patience would take the shape of a man, he would be noble and generous.
Generous. Now, that's an interesting statement, because when you look at somebody being generous, it's somebody that gives a lot and not just material things.
Yes, noble, and this is being a high person and noble is not just who you're related to. A noble person is one who is very fair, and he is generous. So if he has one quality, that's good, but the two qualities, this is better. Noble and generous, because patience means that you would really, really be generous with the people around you, and you will not interrupt them while they're talking, and you will not burden them with all your problems. Yeah, that's a generosity that most people don't even think about. They think about generous with money, but what about your time? What about your personality? Sometimes, all of us, we suffer from this. We are not very generous, and we are not very noble in the way that we conduct ourselves. And this is really, really a bad thing that might get a strike against us on the Yom Kippur. And this is really a bad thing. You get all upset. I'm gonna kill you. Oh, wow. And this is exactly what the first killing was over. Somebody got upset. Somebody got so angry. And Allah accepted one over the others a sacrifice. That's in the Bible. And it's also mentioned in the Quran, and in more detail, because after he killed him, there's nothing in the Bible about that. But in the Quran, Allah tells us the story of a crow, a big bird, killing another bird, and then digging the ground with his claws, and then rolling the bird over into it and covering it up. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. So this is one of the stories that is teaching us that we can learn not only from people, but we can learn from animals. We can learn from the elements. We can learn by observation of the clouds and the mountains and the water and the seas and so on. We can learn a lot if we just pay attention a little bit. But this is not the subject that we're talking about. We're talking about the virtues of patience and generosity. And he summed it up. The whole book is summed up in this story right here in page 54. And it says, Omar ibn Khattab said, the best days we ever lived were by the virtues of patience. And if patience were to take the shape of a man, it would be a noble and generous man. Noble and generous. Meaning that this is the real sabr of Islam. You be noble about what you're doing and consider everybody around you, and be patient. Be patient. Be patient. This is the number one character of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He had this nobility and his countenance, and the way he dealt with the people. He was so noble, and he was generous. So anyway, so this is some of the ideas that we gain from this translated book, Patience and Gratitude. It's really a good book. And if you would like it, I recommend it. It's by Taha Publishers in the UK. But Patience and Gratitude, an abridged translation of the work of Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyya. And that is about what we have for everybody in today's program. And we will continue tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, at least, in showing some of the clips from, inshallah, from the 39th President of the United States. He lived to be 100, and then he passed away just a few days ago, and that's why we're honoring him. And also, he said the truth about a lot of things that he negotiated. He was the founder of, I think he was the one who established the real good treatments from both the Palestinians and the Israelis. He brought them together at Camp David and had a lot of success with that. So, you know, we should recognize what he did. Any last thoughts before we go off the air?
Oddly enough, I do have one. And for me, it's learning not to be in a rush. You need to slow down, because sometimes you end up with having a conversation with people that you never expect, and you can learn so many things from those people and what they're saying that can not just benefit them, but benefit you. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Brother Yusuf, and we're going to close the program.
Well, everybody should learn the lesson about nobility and generosity. And I'm going to translate noble because a lot of people think it means high up. But the idea of concern for others and generosity, concern for others and generosity, that is the true patience. If you concern yourself for others, this is a good thing, inshallah. So everybody stay tuned. There's more coming up, and stay guided with
Guide Us TV.
Thanks to all of you for watching, sharing, and spending your time with us on Guide Us TV. And remember, tell everyone, stay guided with Guide Us TV. In the UK, they